So how did you get on with the census? It's a lot easier with it being typed out instead of having to go through the deciphering the handwriting. So the first thing I asked you about was the occupations. Now this is a little bit of a individual decision as for which one you'd put things under. But some of the main obvious ones that people still do today are things like jeweller, plumber, baker and clerk, although that job may have slightly different names. There's also lots of scholars, school children, obviously we have a lot of those still today. The middle category, ones that are done less often, probably things like draper, dressmaker and tailor, because most people buy clothes ready-made. But there are some people who still go to dressmakers and tailors, and some people who still sell cloth. And for ones that nobody or very few people do, things like anything with the gloving trade, because we don't make gloves in Worcester anymore. It would be very unusual to have an agricultural labourer in the centre of Worcester, because we don't have many now. Farmers don't normally have many extra people. And then servant is a term that probably wouldn't use now in the same way, and people don't work in that quite same way. Households, which more than just the family members, was the second thing I asked. And we have quite a few servants and shop workers living with their employer. We don't get that today. Probably, if you ask around, there's very, very few people around who live with their employer. But in Victorian times, quite often, employers would put up their employees and would feed and clothe them and give them a roof over their head. And then finally, things that the under-16s did. There are a few people who are working, usually things like baker's assistant, draper's assistant at the very bottom of the rung. Not the best job, but you'll probably see there aren't any mine workers or chimney sweeps. Sometimes books about Victorian children make out that all children were doing things like that, when really it was only often a small bit and in certain areas. And there are quite a few children who did go to school. But this wasn't compulsory. Now you might think, yes, I don't have to go to school. But if you were working, it would probably be at the very bottom of the rung and probably working very hard work. So probably you would still prefer to go to school rather than one of those jobs.